Hey Techno Freaks, Techno Odin here, continuing the character breakdowns for Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. This time, the battle will be finished before you know it, with hang on a sec. What? Oh, fuck. Okay, well, I guess we can play fairly dirty, that is, with
Kefka! Let's teach them a thing or two, or three!
A marksman, Kefka destroys his enemies' hopes and dreams using wacky moves and zany unpredictability. This is due to Kefka's ability to charge all his attacks apart from one by holding the BP or HP button when executing an attack. Doing so, Kefka will charge his attack, increasing his attack's range, projectile amount, or hang time depending on the move. He also has a unique little move, the taunt, where if you press the summon button without a full summon gauge, Kefka will do a random taunt, increasing his BP depending on the taunt. For a round of applause you will get 1 BP. For Nina Nina Nina, you will get 10 BP. And for Spank You Very Much, you get 100 BP. Bear in mind I have just made these names up, but if you want to tell old Square Enix to use this as official names, then I would like the check to go out to Mr. BP. Attacks are as follows. His neutral ground is Blizzaga Blitz, where Kefka focuses magic to the tip of his boot, then kicks up a blizzard wave. Charging increases the move's range, and the main thing to note with this move is it will always rise at the end, making its range feel that little bit shorter to ground foes, but more deadly to air-based ones, making this a great close-range get-off-me tool or an anti-air snipe. His forward ground is Plip Plop Meteor, where Kefka sends void energy to the tip of his finger before sending it out to create a meteor storm that hunts his opponents. Once again, charging it will increase the range. This is used to keep people that like to stay stationary like Y'shtola, Firion, or a focusing Ramza to keep moving, and provide your teammate with some good cover fire. His backwards ground, Core Decoy, creates a fake summoning core that explodes on hit. Charging this little beauty will keep it out for a longer period of time. This is your wall of defense against rushing enemies. Use this along with Blizzaga Blitz to punish an opponent trying to get up in your face. But be careful about projectiles, as they just go right through it. His neutral air, Zigzag Faraga, has Kefka wind up for the toss and throws a ball of fire like he's trying to strike out at left field. Or however you play basketball. Charging increases the range that the attack is thrown before it activates its other trick of cycling through, slowly tracking the opponent and moving fast in a straight line. This change of pace makes Zigzag Faraga very annoying to get away from without dashing away from it completely, and is great for trading spells with marksmen due to Kefka's high spell priority. His forward air, Snap Crackle Thundaga, is one of those that you'll want to charge quite often. Alone, it will have Kefka create an orb of lightning that will quickly fire at the opponent. When charging, Kefka adds 7 more orbs to the mix, which will fire off rapidly, similar to Golbez's Lingering Spark. The move is great for lockdown, as it doesn't knock the opponent away, so using it to combo with teammates is a great play. His backer and the last chargeable BP attack is Ultima, where Kefka creates an explosion of magic at a set distance. Charging increases that distance, but be careful. If you charge the move to the wrong distance, you could miss entirely. The move itself also has a vacuum effect that you can work with, but it's pretty much a crowd control thing. His dash attack is Liftoff, where Kefka parts to safety. Okay, think of this as a smellier version of Onion Knight's dash, only you can deal damage upon the initial takeoff. The move is omnidirectional and can be cancelled out of the attack, but it's a little tricky. You see, Kefka has an animation upon landing where he feels the burn. This has a lot of recovery time that could leave you wide open, but you can cancel this animation with BP attacks, HP attacks, or dodging as soon as Kefka's feet hit the floor and he starts to cool down that ring of fire. Do it too soon and he'll have to rectify his rectum. You can still cancel this, but it means you have lost a few seconds to take advantage of the liftoff. This move gives him a lot of ability, and when mastered, allows him to cause a lot of chaos, so B1 with the butt. For HP attacks we start with Havoc Wing. One of his best moves in the PSP version, once again becoming a shadow of its former self. We're seeing a pattern here. Charging it seems to have no other effect outside of you looking silly flipping around like a floating wheel of death. This move's saving grace is you can move while casting it, and its hitbox is a little wider, making it at least better than Delta Attack, but it's probably comparable to Cloud of Darkness's Diffusion Particle Beam. His second HP attack is Hyperdrive, probably the best wave move in the game. It has great range when fully charged, and tracking isn't too bad either. Not to mention you can move while casting it, a trait all his HP attacks have. His third HP attack is Trine. A move similar to Weapon Master, it has a fixed range, and on hit will inflict a debuff of the same name, which is mixed of Blind and Silence, which is similar to X-Depth's Death Knell. This debuff lasts for roughly about 10 seconds. Charging it will increase the amount of cages that Trine creates, 3 being the maximum. His fourth HP attack is Forsaken, an orb of dark energy that upon contact will lower the opponent's maximum HP for a short time, making them easier to take out at that moment. This move is also interesting as it acts the opposite to when it's fully charged. At uncharged, the orb will start off quite fast, then move slower over a short distance. When charged to level 2, the orb has a steady pace for a greater length, and at full charge, the orb starts slow, but then moves at a relatively fast pace over the longest distance. I was originally going to compare this with Terra's fully charged Meltdown, but with Terra's changes coming later on, that's kind of null and void. Forsaken null and void. I will say that although the tracking isn't as good, it still has some near filthy tracking. As for which one is the best, it's almost a take your pick. Hyperdrive has great length to it, and the ability to move makes it far better than any wave move we've encountered so far. Trine and Forsaken both have utility that could really make your choice harder, whether it's Trine's Blind and Silence or Forsaken's Health Drop. These moves really make it a tough choice. One thing that can be agreed is that they are miles better than Havoc Wing. Seriously, this move was amazing in the PSP games, and to be turned into this... Kefka deserved better. His unique EX skill, Heartless Angel, has Kefka afflict debuffs to any enemy caught in its radius. How many debuffs depends on how much it's charged. Uncharged, it will inflict Confuse, which switches your controls for a few seconds, and Silence, which we've established locks away general EX skills. At level 2, we add Blind and Imp to the mix. The latter reduces attack and defense for a good amount of time. Finally, if you manage to get to level 3, you add Sleep and Poison to the mix. Sleep stuns the opponent for a moment, and Poison slowly chips away at their BP. The biggest challenge is getting a full charged Heartless Angel. The charge time is long, so probably better to go for level 2 for that attack and defense nerf. As for general skills, it's really hard to say something that's new. He goes with the standard marksman build, so things like Teleport mixed with Mighty Strike's HP regen, or even Bravery Conduit. But if I had to choose a skill that needs some love and some recognition, I would have to say, Jinx. This skill is Boone's evil brother, as instead of increasing the buff time, it increases the debuff time. And this affects Heartless Angel as far as I have tested. For team comp, Kefka feels really flexible and can work on most setups. I personally like to be paired up with a Kuja, Vayne or Ramza, as these guys can buff while I nerf. Kefka himself seems pretty simple. You charge attacks and fire off. But that isn't the case. To be great with Kefka, you have to take advantage of something I haven't really talked about yet. You see, Kefka has one big downside to his attacks being chargeable, and that is he easily telegraphs what he does, making it easier for his opponents to get away. Now, to counter this flaw, we play on the ability to switch targets. You see, as Kefka charges an attack, he can switch through each target as much as he wants. The attack will only go for the person you originally targeted, but by switching targets, you take away your opponent's target indicator, making them think you have given up on them. This tech really makes Kefka dangerous, as you can do this with HP attacks as well, and with long range snipe moves like a fully charged Hyperdrive and Forsaken, combine this tech with your high movement options, and this is literally has you fighting dirty.
Does this? Better make sure the camera gets my good side.
Okay, that's it for today's breakdown. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell thingy, and share this video. Also, if you have any tips and tricks you found yourself, please share them in the comment section below. And finally, tune in next time where we know we are not alone.
Whatever
with
you
Cloud.
say.
But until that
It's way
day,
past my
this has been
bedtime.
Techno Odin.
A toodaloo!